Welcome to the Doom Train. This is Mike Goldenberg. I am here with a green-black mid-range deck, a little bit different than my last one. This one focuses more on the ramp aspect with Druid of the Cowl. I know I was playing with 2 Elvish Rejuvenators, and I still really like that. I'm not sure which is better in this meta. Elvish Rejuvenator is a absolutely fantastic card. I want to find a spot to put that into this deck. But Druid of the Cowl is also pretty good against mono red. It doesn't die to Chain Whirler, and it doesn't die to Shock. So those are some pros for it. So the deck itself has the basic mana base. I like 2 Memorial to Follies. I don't think the tap land hurts that much, and I think it provides some good late game power, letting you buy back a Doom Whisper or a Carnage Tyrant. So the ramp package is here. I have the Explore package right here. You can kind of see that I am running 2 Wild Growth Walkers main. I have one on the side. I'll get to that in a minute. I think it's too powerful not to want to do. I think this deck absolutely maximizes 2 drops. It wants to hit a 2-drop every turn. It does not maximize the Explore package though without the Squire. The Squire was underwhelming most of the time. 1-2 is very small. And while it's better against Chain Whirler than a base 2-1, if it happens to just explore into a land, I still think the Branch Walker is better than the Squire. Thrashing Brontodon is a card that overwhelmingly impressed me in my dinosaur decks, and I wanted to put it in this deck too because some of the cards that this deck has trouble answering, so maybe some of the enchantments or maybe the Immortal Sun, Brontodon's just a clean answer to. It can kill his Kanta, it can kill any of the enchantment removal spells, it even can kill a Traxos, that giant 7/7 construct, because it is an artifact. In terms of removal, this deck is running a lot less removal than my previous decks. You can see right there, if you count Find and Finality as a removal spell, which it really isn't, I have cut down immensely, trying just to ramp out to do powerful things. This is a more linear version than the reactive version of green-black, and I think it might be better right now. So I do have a 2-2 split of Carnage Tyrant and Doom Whisperer, which gives me power against the control decks and power against the flying decks. Doom Whisperer, as you'll see in the league, is much better against flyers than Carnage Tyrant. That was a mono blue tempo match where if I had Carnage Tyrant, spoilers, if I had Carnage Tyrant, he would have just come out 1 a turn later, and 2, they can race a Carnage Tyrant. They can't race a Doom Whisperer that also can block their threats. Karn, I really like Vraska. 4-drop Vraska just feels pretty nice. I know you have to sacrifice permanents to have her draw you a card, but she's also a removal spell, which I really like, which again I pointed to, this deck has less removal. Part of that is also just there's less planeswalkers that are removal. But what Karn does is he's card draw every turn, where Vraska can't always do that. You can't ramp into a 6-drop and sacrifice a land or a mana dork every turn. Granted, she does remove Chain Whirlers, and she does remove Goblin Electromancers, which Karn cannot do. But she also gains life, which I've always found to be relevant. Gaining that 1 life, I think, is absolutely phenomenal in this meta. Having a Planeswalker that can just kind of slow roll burn by just being like a mini Sun Droplet is really cool. But what Karn does is have way more loyalty. Plows through your deck until eventually you draw something useful. And I think I had a Karn in one of these matches at 8 loyalty until I just started -2ing him, and just that inevitability, just being like, you know what, I'm just going to start making 1/1s, then 2/2s, then 3/3s, and just keep getting bigger and bigger and flood the board by himself. In a slower format, he's much better than Vraska. I'm not sure which I like more. So that's the main board. The 3 Vivian I feel like is classic. I also contemplated running a Immortal Sun version of this deck, which was actually going to run Elvish Rejuvenators, 2 or 3 of them, and just max out on 5 and 6 drop creatures and Immortal Suns, and to try to blank opponents' planeswalkers. But surprisingly, that hasn't been as relevant as I thought it would be, so I moved back to the Vivian Reed version. In the sideboard, you can see I have my classic anti-control cards, which Duress I think is just good in a lot of other matchups too, as you'll see. One more Wild Growth Walker to deal with aggro. Some removal spells, just a good little mix there. Then I have a neat little package here. So you can see I'll get back to the removal. One cast down to fight off aggro, one trophy to fight off anything, and one Vraska's Contempt, which would be the 4th in the 75. And that Vraska's Contempt is actually designed to fight off either control, or is it Drakes, or any time when I have to bring my Chupacabras out, I can, for example, such against Tocatli Honor Guard, I can bring in the Vraska's Contempt to keep fighting through with removal. And the 2 life gain is, again, gaining incremental amounts of life is great in this format, which is one reason why Wild Growth Walker is so powerful. 1 Midnight Reaper just for value-based decks. 1 Eldest Reborn, not in love with it. It's good, it's not great, but it is what it is. I think it's there. I know it's there for the control and mid-range matchups, and it does a really good job in those matchups. Just haven't been impressed with it overall. Quick side note: Brontodon actually kills sagas. It's really cool. 1 more Doom Whisperer, which would bring me up to 3. That's for, again, grindy matchups. It's, again, for anything with flyers. I just like having extra threats I can kind of side into for matchups where I prefer threats to answers or anything like that. 2 Golden Demise is probably a bit low for board wipes. I probably should have a 3rd in there. Maybe I'll cut the Eldest Reborn. I think that's kind of the flex spot. Depends on what you're think you're going to see. Against Control, I'd rather have the Reborn. Against anything that goes wide, I'd rather have a 3rd or even a 4th board wipe. Blood Operative is a card that absolutely goes phenomenally with Doom Whisperer. So it's a 3/1 lifelink. When it comes into play, it exiles a card from a graveyard. So in that sense, it's been my replacement for Death Gorge Scavenger. It's just a 1-for-1 replacement there. Death Gorge Scavenger has been kind of my sideboard card where I bring in whenever the graveyard matters, or if I ever feel I need a little bit of extra life gain in a body. A 3/2 that gains me 2 life when it enters the battlefield has been very good. Blood Operative might be better. It is a little bit slower in terms of gaining life, but any burn deck has to answer it. They have to point shocks, lightning strikes, or lava coils at it, or a chain whirler, just to deal with it. Because a 3/1 lifelink can and will start swinging pretty hard and gaining life pretty fast. It also has a secondary clause here, which is how it works with Doom Whisperer. Whenever I surveil, if he's in your graveyard, I can pay life to bring him back to my hand. That is relevant. That did happen in one of these matches, you'll see. And it's a pretty neat interaction. One thing that I didn't know right away, I hadn't really thought of it, when you surveil, if you surveil Blood Operative into your graveyard, the trigger still happens. Just so you know. So you can surveil blind, find a Blood Operative, ditch it, pay 3 life, and draw a free card. In that sense, you just paid 5 life to scry 2 and draw at least 1 card, which is pretty sweet. So that's the deck. This is designed to be more proactive in a more unknown meta. It's designed to be a little bit faster than the traditional green-black decks with a little bit extra ramp. I think the slightly lower curve, the Doom Whisperers, they are weak to Vivian Reed, but that's one reason why I do have the 2 Memorials and 3 Finalities to rebuy them if I have to. That's the deck. Hope you like it. Let me know what you think.